Okay, Shalom Ubracha, Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov. We're in a good time now. Tammuz, Zichron Torah Moshe, Bezat Hashem, and Parshat Korach. There's so much to go into. Almost the whole parsha is connected to this lesson. We were in lesson Torah 24, and one of the main themes of lesson 24 is the Ketoret. And by Korach, the whole thing was Ketoret. What's going on? What in the world is going on? First of all, the Midrash says that Ketoret stands for four words: Kedusha, Tahara, Ratzon, Tikva. It's a Midrash. Not a Hasidic word. It's the Midrash. Midrash Tanchuma and also Midrash Rabbah. Kedusha, Tahara, Ratzon, Tikva, hope. Okay? This was used to measure if Korach was Amiti. But what's going on? What's going on? In this lesson, Torah 24, Rabbeinu says that the Ketoret has the power like Simcha Mitzvah, which means to lift out the Kedusha trapped in the Klipot. When you're trapped, when you're stuck, the way to get out is Simcha. Okay? Now he says, and he adds a dimension, is saying Ketoret b'kavana is a segula to getting Simcha. When you can't be b'simcha, when you're stuck. Your mama stuck, so the Ketoret can help lift you up, to boost you. We're going to a little about the 11 fragrances, the number 11 today, Bezat Hashem. But the Ketoret is something that brings a person to genuine simcha, and the genuine simcha is what lifts you out of the klipot. This was Korach's problem. Korach's problem was what? And it's so obvious. He was not Sameach Bechelko. Can you press live here? Sorry.
Oh.
What? It says live, right? It says is it set up?
Let's do it tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. All right. The whole idea of Korach, he wasn't happy. Even Moshe Rabbeinu said, it's a pasuk. Hame'at mikem, is it not enough that Hashem chose you guys to be the Leviim, to carry the Aron? You carry you have the Mizbeach, you carry the menorah. You know, every Jew would say, thank you for the zchut. And Moshe Rabbeinu was telling him, why are you guys not happy? On the Pshat, it's so obvious. Why, Korach, are you not happy? And it's a big question. It's a good question. He's filthy rich, right? He brought out 10 donkeys carrying just the keys to the Otzarot, the treasuries that he took out of Egypt. You're filthy rich. He's a Talmid Chacham. He's not a joke. He's a Talmid Chacham, okay? He takes it from 250 Rashi Sanhedrot, okay? And they all fall in this stupidity, tipshut, mamash stupidity, that they're only one's going to come out alive. It's stupidity, because if it's a ratio 1 to 250, and it's not a fair ratio, it's no like Batal Berov, Batal Beshishim, and you have a chance. You know, you don't have 1 out of 250. Rashi brings out the whole Midrash Tanchuma. You know, one is going to, Moshe tells them, one is going to come out, you're all going to be gone. What's going on? And Rashi says, Rashi himself is quoting Rashi's wording is exact word for word from the Midrash Tanchuma. I mean, he skips the little things, but when Rashi says something in the parsha, it's mamash from the Midrash Tanchuma. Okay, he says the Midrash says that they were stupid, but how? You know, it's so obvious. We're not little kids here. We're not little children here. You know, you're an adult Korach. You're a wealthy macher. You're a big shot. What do you find such stupid, low life jealousy and envy? It's not shaykh to you. It's not shaykh to 250 Rashi Sanhedrin to fall to such a jealousy, to start machloket on stupidity. Okay, Aaron. Okay, so what? You know. It says I heard a nice chiddush in Shabbos. Eizu ashir Pirkei Avot hasameach bechelko. It doesn't say hasameach be'oshro. Who's wealthy? Someone who's healthy with his portion. It doesn't say who's healthy with his wealth. You would think, Eizu ashir hasameach be'oshro. I'm happy with my wealth. No, it says chelko. Because the word chelik means two things, a few things. It means number one, your lot, your portion that Hashem gave you in this world, your whole life is your chelik. What you have in this world is your chelik. But the word chelik also means even a little bit, chelik. Whatever Hashem said, you know, whatever is out there, and I only have a chelik of it, I'm still happy. What's going on with Korach? You have everything, and you're not happy. I mean, that's why he was killed. That's why he died. That's why he was thrown to Gehinnom alive, and the 250 sources and were burnt. And then Adat Korach, Datan, Aviram, everyone is kafui tova, and they're going, but where does it come from? Why is a person not happy? That's the thing. Sorry, he was not happy. But why was he not happy? Why was he not happy? His wife. The Midrash says his wife. When the Levim were shaven, clean shaven, the payas, the eyebrows, the eyelashes, everything with the beard, the payas, he came home totally shaven. And his wife started to give it to him. Look, Moshe Rabbeinu is making a fool out of you. You're a big macher, you're a big wealthy guy, you're one of the head of the Leviim, and he's making fun of you. And he took to heart. Rav Nosson goes into this thing, how when a man doesn't know how to successfully take the bounce back from the wife, it brings him down and brings her down also. He says, Rav Nosson in the Likutey Moharan, Eshet Chayil Ateret Ba'ala. A woman of valor. It says twice Eshet Chayil in Mishlei. One is Eshet Chayil means Friday night, what we sing, and there's another Eshet Chayil Ateret Ba'ala. The wife of valor, of a Chayil, a soldier. What is the wife of a Chayil? A Chayil? Chayil is going on her, but it's also going on the man. In other words, a wife of a soldier or a wife of valor. It can be interpreted in many ways. She's Ateret Ba'ala. What does it mean, Ateret Ba'ala? Rav Nosson explains that Ateret, Atara is the crown. She has access to something which is above the man. She is technically under him. She's a recipient. But the light of the woman, Rav Nosson proves from this pasuk, and also from the Chassidut and the Kabbalah, she's rooted in the Keter. Which means what? That her job is to push the man backwards. Because the Rabbeinu says, we didn't go into this at all, but coming up in paragraph 7, paragraph 8, Rabbeinu goes into the idea of the Keter, the sphere of Keter. Its job is to prevent people from going too fast. When you're now on a momentum, you're on a roll. Hashem is good to you. Things are opening up. Your da'at, your sechel, your Yiddishkeit, your kedusha, everything is going amazing business, whatever. In Gashmut and Koshek and Ruchniut. If now you keep on going ahead, you'll just disintegrate in the Ein Sof, the infinite light. Because you're now on your way to the infinite light. Too good in this world, something which is too good, that's already or Ein Sof. This world is Tov Meod. Meod is Yetzirah. But the ultimate good, the or Ein Sof, which is the total good, it's not part of this world. But now the tendency of a Jew, the wording of the Zohar, Redifa, coming up, we'll see this. Redifa, the Machshava, Lemirdaf Abatre. It's the tendency of the mind, the Machshava, the Moach, to run after light. Any light is from Ein Sof. We said, remember the nice Chidush? That Or is Gematria exactly Ein Sof. Or that's 206, 207. Ein Sof is Gematria 207. Any light in this world is basically the infinite light shining into this world, being filtered. Okay, so now the Or Ein Sof is its definition is infinite, and you're finite, you're limited. Two opposites. You can't. You'll just if you run into the Or Ein Sof, you just disappear. Hashem doesn't want that. Hashem wants, like we say, the Rabbeinu in lesson 8, part 2, he quotes from the Krovitz. I think it's from Rosh Hashanah or from Yom Kippur. Ve'avita tehila migushe afar mikutze chomer. Hashem wants to be praised from low lives, from people from this world, or Gashmi migusham. Hashem wants the people from this world. He wants dafka to be made known from this world, from all the setbacks and the chesronot of this world, this olam which is not shalem. From this world, Hashem wants to be recognized. Avita tehila. Okay. So a person will disappear if he runs right into Ein Sof. So there's a wall that bounces him back. It's called the Keter. The sphere of Keter is above the other spherot. With Keter, there's like 11 spherot. It interchanges. Sometimes it's called Da'at, sometimes it's called Keter. Okay, it's in and out. It's untouchable. You can't really connect to it. It's above. What it does, the Keter, it prepares someone who's about to reach the high level in life. And the danger is if he goes too much, it'll be ribu, or it'll be too much light, it'll be a harisa, it'll be a a destructive mode. So the keter bounces him back. So he says, Rav Nosson, the wife, she receives her light from that. Ateret bala, she's the keter. Her job is to bounce you back. The thing is how you take it. That's the thing, how you take it. Korach's case, his wife put him down and he took it to heart. He was supposed to bypass that test. He's supposed to show his emunah on Moshe Rabbeinu, even in the face of what his wife is saying. He's supposed to hold on. This is Moshe Rabbeinu, no questions. It's emunah. I believe. No. You look at you, you're wealthier, you have more money than him, and this and that, what the Midrash says there. And the Gemara also. And she got him. And that caused him to have a lack of happiness. He failed the test. The test of simcha is dafka of the wife. That's the whole thing here. If you're able, after all the bisyonot and all the negativity, to show up, like she's shooting bullets, and it's like, I have armor. Nothing touches me. You didn't even make a dent in my simcha, in my emunah. You tried to. That's your job, the wife. Your job is to bring me down. Okay, you brought me down. Good. But I'm not dented because of it. I'll get right back up. I'm brought down. I need to be pushed down in order. He says, what happens when you're pushed back by the keter? What happens is that you build kelim now, that in the setback, having the kelim, that allows you to perceive that which is beyond you, but in a format called in the Kabbalah, mate vela mate. You're touching and not touching. You're in and out. In this ball game of the Ein Sof, and which interprets in life, anytime Hashem gives you a deep understanding of Yiddishkeit, of life, of emunah, you have a good perspective, okay? It's always in and out. It's not fixed. You touch and you're out. In and out. You tasted it, you experience it, you know about it, but you're not there. But I know about it, as opposed to someone who doesn't know at all about it. I know at least something about it. I've experienced in life. The setbacks in life have built me to build kelim in order to experience this infinite light. Okay? This was Korach's downfall. It was a home. That led that he wasn't sameach bechelko. He wasn't the thing of true simcha. What's true simcha? True simcha is even a little bit. Rabbeinu says in the Azamra, lesson 282, nekuda, od. That's simcha in life. And Korach's simcha was all or nothing. It's all or nothing. He's called Korach. Korach also means what? Bald, like no hair. What is the idea of a hair? A hair is a connection. There's also hair on the head, which is not considered kadosh. There's hair on the beard, on the payas. Those are like tzinorot. Fine. But when you say someone is kereach, you don't refer to, namely baldness is mainly on the head. The hair of the head in the Kabbalah is not considered to be so good. That's why the Jewish dress and way of haircut is short. We don't grow blorit and long hair and everything. It's short because it's kept at a minimum. But there's something. Why the hair on the head, in a sense, is like the mayim achronim. Mayim achronim, when you eat a meal, you have to give mayim after the waters afterwards. It's like giving a doggy bone to the klipa, to the sitra, to the evil. You share. You take your little piece. You have to give to the evil something minimum, because if not, they'll go berserk. You have to give them minimal nourishment. You give them nourishment, but minimal. So the idea of having hair is that it's not perfect. It's not 100%. There's some giving of kedusha to somewhere else, to tuma, and that's either my machorni. That's either the hair. He was called kereach. Kereach is like saying no. There's nothing. It's all or nothing. It's 100% going to the matara. He was filthy rich. He was a big Talmid Chacham. That means his attitude has to be 100% full. And if it's not, then it's no value. He doesn't know a Korach mentality is someone who can't be happy with the little accomplishments, the little bit of good. We said, you remember Yoshua ben Nun, that the Midrash says about Yoshua ben Nun, why he was chosen, Notzer te'ena yochal pirya. The Midrash says, when Moshe Rabbeinu had no idea that Yoshua ben Nun is going to be the one to replace him. He thought for sure one of his sons, one of the 70 elders. Moshe asked Hashem, who's going to bring Am Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael? And Hashem told him the one who set the benches in the Beit Midrash in the desert, the one who's Mesader the Safsarim, and he poured it's a joke, the Moroccan tea, pouring the tea to all the Talmidei Chachamim when they're learning and all that. The guy who's taking care of he said, what? Yoshua ben Nun? Yes. Why? Then the Hashem quotes the Midrash, the Pasuk. The Midrash says, Hashem quotes, Notzer Te'ena, the one who guards the fig tree, he will eat from the fruit. What's unique about a fig tree? Fig tree doesn't produce all the fruit in one shot. Fig tree is very delicate. That's why it's so problematic with worms. Because if it's even 1 day extra after being ripened on the tree, it starts having infestment with all types of worms and everything. The forbidden worms, okay? So you have to harvest it on the right day. So the problem is with the fig tree, it's like a full harvest. Every day, the owner of a kosher fig tree, not the non-kosher ones, the kosher ones, he has to check every day which figs ripen and immediately harvest them and take them off the tree and sell them. And to be consumed that same day. They have to be sold and eaten because it's very soft, delicious, but there's no worms on that same day. So how does it work? The fig tree owner, every day, he has to check the fig tree. Oh, here's one fig that's ripe. Here's another one. He has to collect them every day. And it continues until the season is over. Every day, he comes back to the tree, a little bit here, a little bit there. So too, Yoshua ben Nun is someone who's happy with a little bit here. The Midrash says this. The reason why Yoshua ben Nun became Yoshua ben Nun is because he was able to value every little bit of good. That's the thing. That's why he was also, like we said, ben Nun. He was the son of 50th gate. We spoke about this in Parshat Baalotcha. He was able to face the balance of the Keter. The Keter is the Nun. The Keter back, we said the Nun backwards by Bin Saharon, is like when the Keter is pushing you back. The same thing. All these Parshiot after Baalotcha, until we get to Pinchas, it's all setbacks. If you notice, every Parsha there's another problem. This week's Parsha, the hitting of the rock, the death of Aaron, the death of Miriam, right? Moshe not going to Eretz Yisrael. Every parsha, it's Chukat, Korach, what happened? Okay, Shlach. Every parsha, Balak, the death of the Jews who fell by the Midianites, the 24,000 who fell with the Eitzah of Bilam. Every parsha until we get to Ben HaMetzarim is just problems from the Nun. That's like a national level. Who's holding on? Yoshua ben Nun. Do you think he was he in Adad Korach? No. Was he with the Meraglim? For sure not. Do you think he fell with the Balak and Bilam and the 24,000? No, he didn't. He was an example of someone who's dedicated to follow Moshe Rabbeinu, even though if it's partial good. Because again, Notzer Te'ena, it's not 100% happiness. It's happiness on even partial things. Ezu Ashir Asameach Lecherko. Okay, with this you understand why all of Korach's wealth was swallowed up also. You would think so much money, donated to the Mishkan, donated to something. What was donated, and the Torah makes an emphasis, the machtot of the Chataim, the 250 machtot that they brought the Torah on, those pans made of copper, Hashem commanded, Zrehala, take the fire off, Ki Kadesh, because they're now sanctified. If it wasn't that they're sanctified, they should also have been destroyed and swallowed up. But because they came and offered the Ketores did its job. We're going to go into the Ketores a little, okay? Because it was used for a sanctified devotion, Hashem says, Kadeshu, and after you're going to use it now, make it Tzipui LaMizbeach, so people remember wherever it comes to speak against the Kehuna, this is the punishment, okay? This is what happens. So now, with all that said, going back to the Ketores, the Nisayon to clarify where the Emet was and where the Sheker was the Ketores. Because the idea of the Ketores is to bring out someone who has real simcha, but he's stuck. He wants to be happy. Kedusha, Tahara, Ratzon, Tikva. Okay? There's Kedusha v'Tahara. Kedusha means having bounty coming from down, up, down. Tahara is you work to purify yourself to be ready to receive. Ratzon is even if I'm not holding any Kedusha v'Tahara, at least I want it. I want to be in the ball game. I want. With that, you have the last letter, Tikva. Okay, we're going to go into the Ketores a little, Bezat Hashem. We have a lot to go into, Bezat Hashem. This was used to see who has true simcha and who doesn't. Korach was such a chacham, he was such an uber chacham, he was able all night to convince so many Jews to be on his side. He convinced 250 Rashi Sanhedrin, unbelievable. He convinced 250 Rashi Sanhedrin to follow his stupidity. That's how smart he was. How was he able to get the people? By making them feel bad about themselves. Look, Moshe Rabbeinu took this, Aaron took this, so what? Okay, he took, so what? What does it bother you? No, it bothers us. But why does it bother you? He was able to go into their subconscious psychology and make them feel bad about themselves, and this is the result. So now the Ktoret comes to clarify. If you have true simcha, it's just stuck under a lot of garbage, a lot of shmutz, a lot of obstacles. So the power of the Ktoret, it's Ratzon, Kedushata, Ratzon, Tikva. It's able to bring out the real dimension of your true simcha. Like Rabbi Nachman once said to somebody, someone said, I want to serve Hashem. So Rabbi Nachman said, Rabbeinu said, do you really want to want? Do you want to want? What does that mean? That the Ratzon is a devotion, number one. But the Ratzon is that you say, Hashem, I want to be a Jew, but I just can't. I'm overwhelmed by the Olam Hazeh and the nice cars and the American settling and the Parusin and the whole that. Hashem, I want to be a Jew, but I just can't. So the question is, do you really want to want? You're saying that, okay? You're saying that. There's a lashon, kol chafetzim leirat Hashem. Everybody wants to fear Hashem, but now, who really wants? Who really wants? Okay. So the Ktoret brings out what you really want. If now a Jew really wants to be sameach bechelko, so the Ktoret brings that out. This is why the Ktoret chose Aharon, because Aharon, we went into this, remember a class before, is the epitome of someone who's happy with his portion. Like it says, Moshe Rabbeinu told Hashem at the sneh, he said, what are you sending me? My brother, he's older than me 3 years. I'm gonna be a prophet, to take out Am Yisrael, bigger than him, and he's already a Navi. Aaron was already a prophet in Egypt with the tribe, in the tribe of Levi, he was already a Navi. And he said he's not going to feel bad. Hashem said no. He's going to see you when you come back, and he's going to be happy in his heart. And Rashi says that's why he was zochet to the choshen mishpad on the heart, on the chest, on the heart area, because he's the epitome, Aaron, of someone who has true simcha. What's true simcha? That I'm not jealous, and even if chas shalom I have jealousy, I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't want to have this. Aaron, he showed that he wants true simcha. I'm happy what you gave me. Oh, my brother, he's younger than me. I should be the Navi to take out the Jews from Egypt. No, he was happy. He had true simcha. That's what the Ktoret chose him. Okay, the Ktoret did the job. He didn't die. Everyone else died, because that's what the Ktoret does. The Ktoret does two things. If now you're really trapped and you really want to get out, it'll bring you out. And if you really don't want to get out, that's what the Moshe Rabbeinu was telling the Jews. There's some chaim in the Kedor, there's also some mavet. For who is it some mavet? A portion of death. For someone who doesn't want true simcha, someone who gets carried away with the sidetracks of this world and just wants that. He gets trapped in that. Now, again, why does a person get trapped in the sidetracks of this world? Because he has Yerush. He enforced the giving up. As opposed to someone who says, Hashem, I'm giving up, but I don't want to give up. I have no choice, Hashem. I don't want to give up. If Hashem, there's hope, send me. If not, I'm giving up. What do you want? Someone who gives a mecha'ah, a retort, and cries about it, and it bothers him that he is in Yehush mode, it bothers him, the retort will help such a person. This week's parsha. If not, it'll bring him down. Okay, it'll bring him down. That's what he says. If you want Ktoret, you won't skip. So if you want Simcha, you won't skip the Ktoret in davening. You'll say it. You won't start at Hodu. You'll start with the Ktoret. The Ktoret is the key for being the Simcha, and Simcha is the prerequisite for the davening to be answered. For me to be able to daven the Kavanah and everything, I need Simcha. So where do I get it from? The Ktoret. Okay, that's in the davening, but in life also in the parsha. So this is the idea of the Ktoret. This is the parsha. Okay, just in a nutshell, some insights of what happened, why the Ktoret was used. Now, finally, we'll go back to the Ktoret soon. Let's finish this paragraph. Okay, we're now the final line, Torah Kaf Dalet, lesson 24, Sif Vav, paragraph 6, the last line. Okay, I went over this lesson so many times. I don't think it's we did last week. Emunatcha bikal kedoshim. We finally ran into it. I know that something's not clear still, but we clarified it last week for those who were here. Emunatcha bikal kedoshim, kodesh zebichinat mochim. Right? have it there? Talk about it. Okay. So Emunatcha Bikal Kedoshim Kodesh Zebechinat Mochin. We went into this last week. That here Rabbeinu connects Emunah to Kodesh, and Kodesh is Chochmah. We went into this a little. What's the difference between Kedusha and Tahara? Kedusha is in Chesed, Tahara is in Gvura. What does that mean? That when we say, normally we say Kedusha v'Tahara. The only time, or one of the few times we say first Tahara and Kedusha, you'll notice in the little prayer after the Sret Omer, Titaharenu v'Kadesheni b'Kedushatcha Alyona, Amen Selah, right? So there we reverse the order of Tahara before Kedusha. Normally, order is Kedusha v'Tahara. Why? Kedusha is bounty and shefa coming down. Boom. It's coming down. You don't have to initiate anything. That's Kedusha. Okay? So the intellect, in other words, when Hashem wants to initiate something inside of you, so you're given knowledge. You're given knowledge. You're taught knowledge. You get a child in Cheder, it's Kedusha. They say Taharat HaKodesh. Tahara is before Kodesh. But really it's Kodesh. That's like the Tahara of Kodesh. What's Kodesh? Is that you're being given holy information. Afterwards, you'll develop it. Afterwards, you'll determine what's needed to do to fix yourself in order to receive. So Kedusha is the initial giving of Hashem. It's Chokhmah. That's why it's Chokhmah. And Tahara is afterwards what you do to sanctify yourself. And then they give you, you purify yourself. And you're also gifted, you're given as a result, additional Bina, what's called Bina. You take what's the raw initial information, chokhmah of knowledge of Torah that you're given, and then you're now able to develop it. That now requires tahara. But kedusha comes down, boom, comes down, without any what's it called, any strings attached, without any criteria needed. Kedusha comes down. Tahara, you have to work for that. You have to build environment to have the second level of chokhmah. It's called Bina, and that depends on Tahara. But in general, because even Tahara receives from Kedusha, to explain, Kodesh is Chokhmah in the Kabbalah, and Tahara is Bina, even though because Bina receives also from Chokhmah, so they're all called Kodesh Kedoshim. That's why he says, Emunatcha Bikal Kedoshim, in the assembly of the Kodesh, which is Chokhmah, Bina, and Da'at. It's a Kahal now. Okay? In Masechet Pesachim, we learn out Kol Kahal Adat Yisrael under the Shalosh Mishmarot in the Erev Pesach. We learn out one of the words is Kol Kahal, right? Adat Yisrael. They learn out from the three words. One of the three words is Kahal. So because though we learn out there's three groups who entered the Beit HaMikdash for the Shechita of the Korban Pesach, and the word has Kahal, so Kahal is a reference to three. So you have here Chochmah, Bina, and Da'at. So that's what that. And the Chidush Rabbeinu is saying is Emunah. That even when Kedusha comes down, even when Hashem opens your head and sends you Chokhmah, you have to not forget the goal is Emunah. Even when there's intellect coming and I'm learning and I understand the Gemara, I understand Kabbalah, I understand Zohar, I understand Ruach HaKodesh, I understand. The goal of understanding is to not understand, to know that you're open to a new level where there's just Emunah. We're going to go into this B'ezrat Hashem more detail now of the next thing here. He says here now, Rabbeinu is quoting an idea from the Kabbalah. Everything we're saying here now of drawing down Emunah from a higher level, this is what it says in the books of the Kabbalah. Malkhut of Yetzirah naaseh mimena chokhmat bina da'at Asiyah. Okay, which translates. Before I translate, I have to explain something. We have to say something clearly here. You notice in this lesson, it sticks out from many other lessons in the Likutey Moharan, and that Rabbeinu says an idea, and he says, and this is the meaning of what it says in the Kabbalistic works, this. Okay, he said, for example, the initial idea of Simcha doing the mitzvah, this is what it says in the Kitvei Ari of elevating Malchut from the Klipot. And then he says, and then when the mitzvah has momentum, like the molecules, and it's moving and there's momentum against everyone to serve Hashem, that's the idea of Malchut going up to Netzach Hod Yesod, it says in the Kabbalah. Now, so what is Rabbeinu doing when he says this? When Rabbeinu does this, so this format of presentation, so he's doing two things. Number one, this is what Chassidut is in general. Chassidut takes things which are so like unrelated to me from the Kabbalah, and they show you how it is related to you. That's what Chassidut is. Chassidut takes all the deep secrets of the Kabbalah, and so now how a Jew can do this on a practical level. You want to know how it is? Boom, boom, boom. This Eitzot. It's Tzaddikim reveal Eitzot. This is what it means in the Kabbalah. That's what he's doing. He's saying Simcha and doing mitzvot is, in other words, what it says in the Kabbalah, taking the Malchut that's trapped in the Klipot and bringing it up. They're taking the holiness, elevating Malchut from the Klipot. Wow. He took something which, like, how do I relate taking Malchut from the Klipot? Okay, it's a big statement. I can interpret it 5 million ways in my life. What I'm going through, I can try to relate. But here Rabbeinu says clearly, boom, Simcha and doing mitzvah is what gets the Malchut out of the Klipot. So what did he just do now? What did the Chassidut just do now? He gave you a practical handle to a deep concept in the Kabbalah, taking out Malchut from the Klipot. Okay, it's a big statement. And he says, you want to know how it works? Do mitzvah b'simcha. When you're out of it and you're dead and you're miserable and you still try your best to be happy with any little drop of good and you make yourself b'simcha, that's how you do this, okay? So that's one thing he's doing here. And the second thing, he's now showing you that this is what the Kabbalah really means. In other words, you think this is what it says in the Likutey Moharan. It's like saying this is coming to explain, but not really touching what it says in the Likutey Moharan. Now it's switched. He's saying, you want to know what the Likutey Moharan really meant? When the Likutey Moharan really means taking the Malchut from the Klipot and bringing it out of the Klipot, what it really meant, what the Arizal really meant, and what the Zohar really meant, is what the Chassidut is teaching, what Rabbi Nachman is saying now. This is what they meant. The bottom line is, when Rabbi Shimon in heaven, or the Arizal, when we made this statement, or the Rashash, wherever, all these big Kabbalists, when they made their statement, it was to get to this, to teach people that this is what it means. Doing mitzvot b'simcha, that's what lifts the Malchut out of the Klipot more than anything else. Ki b'simcha tetzeu. With simcha you get out. Get out of what? From the Klipot. You get out from what you're stuck in life. Unbelievable. They think, what? That's also an explanation. That's also a perush. Chassidut shows you that this is the perush. That's the beauty of Chassidut. It's proven. It's the way Rabbeinu connects it and what Chassidut does in general. But in the Likutey Moharan, it becomes that the nismach, the somech. How does it work? How does it in the Hebrew? The one that we were relying upon now becomes relied. It becomes dependent. In other words, we have an asmachta. I'm using the Likutey Moharan as an asmachta. So now A is dependent on B. But he proves it so strong, now it's switched. That what the Arizal meant was really this. It's switched now. That the asmachta is now being nismach. It's dependent on this chidush of the Chassidut. That's how far-reaching. He said that himself, Rabbeinu Likutey Moharan. People think it's such a maila, that my teachings can reach up to even the Likutey Moharan and the Zohar. It says just the opposite. They go way past that. He says, I receive my teachings, he said, from a place that no one has yet touched from. You hear that? That's crazy when you say that. That's unbelievable. Saying he's taking it from a high place, which, yes, goes beyond the Kabbalah and the Zohar. It goes beyond that. It's going from a higher route. That's the statement he said. I'm taking it from a higher place that no one has yet touched from. So it can't be somewhere lower. I'm digging lower. The chidush is that someone already, why am I wasting time digging here if already my predecessors digged over here and they've discovered here? Why am I wasting time here? The chidush is from here up. That's the chidush, that someone dug above and discovered there where no man has gone before. Like in Star Trek. I don't know if you remember Star Trek, whatever. Okay, no man has gone before. No one is. It's like a karka betula. It's called untouched land, untouched area. Okay, so now this is what Rabbeinu is doing in the lesson. He's making an idea, and then he shows you where it's hinted to in the Likutey Moharan. Okay, so now we finally come to this stage, and it's the exact opposite of all the previous stages. To recap, all the previous stages was that we're going upwards. Okay, to recap. When a Jew does mitzvot b'simcha, which means ezu ashir sameach bechelko, which means even if the mitzvah is not 100%, I'm still happy of the little bit of good that I'm able to do. I'm happy with the nekuda tova. Okay, this lifts up Malchut from the Klipot. That's stage one. Malchut, again, the map, the BRI map. Okay, here we go. Can you see clearly? You can see clearly, right? It's clear. You see on the bottom. Malchut is all the way on the bottom here. It's all the way on the bottom here. So Malchut, before being here, it's stuck in the earth. That's why it extends downwards. It's like stuck. It's like a piece of Lego. It's stuck inside. You have to take it out. So Malchut, elevated from the klipot, which is underneath it, is doing the mitzvah b'simcha. What happens now when you do that? Now the mitzvah have momentum. Can you see that? The mitzvah have momentum. They can't see that really. So now the mitzvah go up to the legs. The leg area is called Netzach, Hod Yesod. Netzach and Hod are called the legs. Halichot Eli. Eli is its pasuk. Keli is Yesod. So Malki, Rabbeinu brought a pasuk there. Halichot Eli, Malki Bakodesh. When I elevate Malchut into the Kedusha, holiness, all of a sudden it goes up to enclose the three. How it works, the sfirot. Every sfira has what's called chitzoniyut and pnimiyut. There's the internal part of the sfira and the external. When going up or down, it depends what goes up, what goes down. So normally, the lower, I can hold it like this. You see, the lower sfira is considered a garment to the upper sfira. The upper sfira are considered pnimi. Pnimi is considered more the real thing, the real deal. Like, for example, you have your skin on the outside. Where's the real you? In the brain, in the heart. The real you is inside. So too, the sfira, the pnimiyut is inside. And external is considered like a garment. So when Malchut now was lifted up, okay, its chitzoniyut was lifted up, let's say from the klipot. It's another job to bring the pnimiyut. But now the next stage, where now the mitzvah, once done b'simcha, now has momentum, meaning your mitzvah, your tiny mitzvah, Mr. Joe Schmo in Tennessee, in Alabama, over there, he puts on his tefillin, he shakes his lulav, he gives tzedakah. Okay, that little mitzvah shakes the entire universe. Okay, it's able, especially because now that the mitzvot were freed from the klipot, because they were done b'simcha, so now the mitzvah has momentum. What does it mean it has momentum? It has legs. What does it mean it has legs? It's able to get things in life, everything in life moving. We went into that. All the worlds, everything moves from my mitzvah. It's like shaking the bottom of a rope. Okay, you shake the bottom of the rope, the whole rope shakes. Your little mitzvah done at the bottom in this world shakes everything. A Jew thinks nothing. That's one of the tests of this world, is that only when a person has his feet facing the door, that's the expression, a person is nifter. Okay, a person leaves this world, and then he begins to see the reality of what happened in this world. He begins to see what the mitzvah actually did. They show in heaven, did you know what your mitzvah did? And a person has such regret that he didn't do more, because they show him what his mitzvah actually did, what they accomplished. That's the momentum. So that Rabbeinu called Malchut going up to the legs. That now the Malchut has feet. It gets things moving, gets all the worlds moving, okay? 1 second, just like that. Okay. So that's what he says, Malchut going up, what the Kabbalah says, Malchut goes up to Netzach Hod Yesod. This is what it really means, that they have momentum. And then the next thing he said is, now when your mitzvah has momentum and it's shaking the world, so now that activates what's called the hands. The hands are called bracha. That's why Birkat Kohanim, he said the proof from Aaron, the halacha is that a Kohen can only go up and do the Birkat Kohanim if he has hands. If now Kohen has a blemish in his fingers, chas v'shalom, he's missing a hand, he's now blemished, he can't do Birkat Kohanim. Because why? The bracha of the Kohanim is dependent on the hands, it comes in the hands, okay? The hands. So now the idea that of bracha coming down due to my mitzvah is what he said earlier, that Netzach Hod Yesod goes up to the area of the hands. Here, this is the leg area. Chesed, word is like the arm area, the arms. Can you see that, right? You can see that? Here, let's have to hold the plier. So now this went up to these three, and then these three, with this in mind, encloses the outside of these. The chitzoniut went up to the three. And so that become like a garment for these three, which is the hand area. And then he said, if you remember, but you have to be smart. When the bracha comes down, aim for sechel, aim for da'at. As they say to you, like King Solomon. Hashem told King Solomon, okay, you have a choice. You can ask him everything you want, or riches, or chokhmah. What did King Solomon say? I want chokhmah, because I know in chokhmah I have everything. In ain right? What was the Pirkei Avot we said? Didabe kul. So it's like Gemara Nadar. Didabe kulabe. Im ein dat. Right. What is it? How does it go? Im ein dat ein. No, dat kanita ma chasarta. There you go. Dat chasarta ma kanita. If you have dat, you have everything. And if you don't have dat, you have nothing. You have nothing, okay? So the main bracha is that you include the bracha of the hands. Chesed Gvurah Tiferet is the idea of the hands. The torso is included with the hands because the hands branch out, the arms branch out from this area. You don't have hands coming out of your head. The hands coming out of the chest area. The arms are coming out extension from here. So it's considered this whole area is the area of the bracha. The hands is considered part of the torso. When that now you're wise and you ask for chokhmah bina dat, so it's as if they go up the next level. Now look what Rabbeinu says here. Rabbeinu says this thing that now if you now have succeeded in asking for chokhmah bina dat, that you want you want a blessing of intellect because that has everything inside of it. Be careful to remember to put emunah inside of it. We said that. In other words, the goal of your sechel should be to enhance your emunah on Hashem, because Hashem is infinite. No matter how much you learn Torah, how many years, you will never grasp Hashem. The whole idea of Torah is hora'ah, it's an instruction, hadracha, it's like a guide. A guide for what? What's the Torah guide for? Torah is a guide to connect to Hashem as much as possible. But Hashem is endless. So what am I wasting my time? You're not wasting your time. The more you understand the Torah, the more you see how much you don't know. Megale tefach, mechaset tefachayim. When you reveal one tefach of the Torah, you now uncovered, so you covered up two more. In other words, you went one step forward and technically 2 steps back. What do you mean 2 steps back? You thought you understood everything. And they show you a new dimension, and now I see I don't understand anything at all. Until now, I understood. I was like, okay, God, I got it. And then you went up a level. Whoa, what is this? New turf, a new area. I have no grounding in this area. That's the goal, and it's endless, and that's what Hashem wants. Hashem wants to enhance your emunah. You can only enhance emunah if da'at is enhanced. Emunah without da'at, Rabbeinu says in Nachman's wisdom, is dangerous. You can have emunah, kol hakavod. It's very good to have an emunah and to be a simple Jew, but if there's no da'at to the Torah, it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because you can begin to believe in also false ideologies. You can take hashkaf of the Torah and distort it. Okay, you can make it into something that it isn't. Da'at alone is for sure garbage. Da'at alone, that was the pagam of Korach. Rav Nosson goes into this a lot. That Korach, it says, Ve'it palag, va'ikach Korach. Targum says, Ve'it palag, he separated. What did he separate? So it's a whole lesson in Likutey Moharan, lesson 31. He separated the tzaddik from lamdan. What's the idea? That a Jew has to strive to be tzaddik ve'lamdan. To be a tzaddik and a lamdan. I'm learning Torah in order to become a tzaddik. That's it good. But someone who says the main thing is the lamdan, and by the way, the tzaddik, that's Rashi Tevot, let's. He's a clown. As opposed to tzaddik ve'lamdan is tzel, betzel shadai yitlonan. Someone who's in the tzel, the shade of Hashem, that's tzaddik ve'lamdan. Korach wanted to separate. And he said, what did he argue? His whole thing against Moshe Rabbeinu was rational arguments. Kulam kedushim, we're all holy, not just you and Aaron. Rashi says, we all heard Anochi Hashem Elokecha Har Sinai. We all received the Torah. What did Korach say? We all received the Torah. He was using rational arguments to attack Moshe Rabbeinu. But that's not the thing. This tzaddik ve'lamdan. And he's trying to say, we all know Torah. When Korach is saying we all received the Torah, so he's saying what we received, that's it. He said, no, that's not it. The goal of the lamdanut, which Moshe Rabbeinu also received, is the tzaddik, to be a tzaddik, which means that there's working on your midot and working on your character, which requires what? A lot of emunah. To work on your midot. If you think it's just learning Torah that's going to work, then some people think, and they base themselves on Musar Sfarim, you want to break your midas, you got to learn very well Derech Hashem and Mesilas Yesharim and this chapter in Chavos Lavavos, and to go be'ayin into the world of Hashkafa and that's how you break your midas. No way, Jose. No way. The way to break midot, the bridge between potential to actual is emunah, is davening. If you don't daven for anything in life, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you think you got somewhere, you didn't. You got velo matzata, matzata velo yagata, agam ken al ta'amin. You think you got somewhere and you weren't you didn't kill yourself. The main place that people kill themselves is emunah. You have some people that they're very intellectually advanced, so it's not a yegia for them to learn a sugya and the Gemara. They love it. It's a kef. It's everything. It's great. It's givaldic. Where's the killer by most people is emunah. That's why davening is such a killer for everybody. The biggest Talmid Chacham to the lowest person, davening is hard because davening, emunah-based devotion, is a killer. That's how you work on your midah. That's where the work is. The work is in emunah. The work is in emunah. It's not easy. It's not easy, emunah-based devotions. It's a killer. You have to really work at it. But this is what makes you somebody in life, okay? This is what Korach didn't realize. This was the greatest, that's tzidkut. To be a tzaddik is now you utilize emunah-based devotions to develop your midah. You learn Torah, bravo. I learned, I know it, I went over it, I went over 100 times, but I know the goal is emunah, okay? I'm just going to go off a little tiny. In Uman, we're talking about 100 years ago, there was a Breslover who was a big prodigy, a big Lamdan, a big Ilu. His name was Rav Matis HaKohen. They changed the name afterwards to Barzeski, but it's Bazjeski. He came from Poland, and he discovered, while in Poland, he discovered Rav Noson's letters, and that clicked him on to Breslov. He traveled before World War I, he traveled to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, and he was just amazed what he saw. He was on fire. The love and the energy that he felt in the Klois. The Klois was the Breslover Shul in Uman, by the Breslover Hasidim. So he went back, he got married, whatever, and then eventually he brought his family. He moved to Uman in such poverty and everything, and he was a big, super duper lamdan. The chief rabbi of Uman was a Skver Chassid. It was Skver, okay? And because Uman, you should know, was a very interesting village. Uman had in it many Chassidim of many groups. There was ChaBaD, there was Slonim, there was Skver, okay? Karliners, you had all types of Chassidim. Uman was a multi-Chassidic, it was a Chassidish shtetl, but more, it was like a big city. It was very old already, so it was very big. And you had many Chassidim, Tulna, all the Chassidic groups in the Ukraine, they had representatives in Uman, okay? The chief Rav was a Skver, and Skver was against Breslov. And the Rav got into a very difficult sugya, and he got stuck on it. And he thought maybe if he just spends more time delving into it, he'll find an answer, and he couldn't. And he knew the one person we can talk to about it to solve it is a Breslover, but he was scared, embarrassed to go into the Breslov Shtibel, the Klois, in order to meet this Rav Matis and speak to him. But it bothered him so much, the sugya, and he was L'Shem Shamayim, this Rav, so he didn't care. He walked in one day, said, whatever happens, happens. He walked in, and he quickly spoke to Rav Matis. Not quickly, he presented the problem. And so Matis answered him like in a half a minute. He solved all the kushir on it. There was nothing left. He was flipping out. I had this question for like days and days and days, and he answers it like in less than a minute. But he knew that he was the one. He's the address, okay? And he told him, "Don't be impressed with this. Why are you impressed with the lamdanut? Be impressed with kedusha and emunah. That's what we have to be impressed. That's what they work on." And then when he got out, he got it. The Skver Hasidim. The Misnagdim found out that he went into the employees that. So he said to them, "What do you want from me? That there's no Talmidei Chachamim amongst you to speak to. What do you want from me? That the only one who can reach has the caliber level that I can speak to and can help me out is a Breslover. What do you want me to do? Yeah, you have someone else, so bring him to me. But there's no one else, so I have to go to the rest of the people." They gave it to him. But the point is, what Rav Matis told him, he said, "This is not the main thing." And then another time, there was a Rav who was giving a Gemara Shira in Kremenchuk. His name was Yisrael Korsinski, and he eventually came to Eretz Yisrael and moved to Tel Aviv. And he said in his life later on, he said that once he had a big question on the Tosfot, and it was so complicated he couldn't figure it out. And he came to Uman, he spoke to Rav Matis, and on the spot he solved it out for him. And he was so shocked. He says, "Don't be impressed about this. The main thing is emunah." And that's what Rabbeinu was saying here. Don't be turned on. Oh, he's a gaon, he's a gadol ador, he's a posek, he's a big head. What do you have to be impressed about? Of the emunah. The emunah. That's what to be impressed about. Okay. So here, Rabbeinu was saying something powerful. He called earlier emunah malchut. We saw that in the pasuk that he brought, or what Shaul HaMelech said to David HaMelech. He said a few lines up. Bechinat, Shmuel Aleph, chapter 24. V'kama b'yadecha mamlechet Yisrael. I see, King Shaul said to David HaMelech, I see that it will now be established in your hands, the kingdom of Israel. And Rabbeinu uses this proof, the idea of Emunah. Malchut is the idea of Emunah. He says, Hainu, Shamshich Emunah, Emunah and Malchut, the connection is known. In the Kabbalah, the Malchut is called Emunah. Why? Because Emunah and Emunah is connected to the letter Dalet. Why is Malchut? It's the 10th Sfirot. It's the 10th Sfirah. It's number 10 on the bottom of the list. Why is it called the letter Dalet? Because of the 4 bottom ones, it's called Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. It's number 4. There's a group called 4. Also in Yud Kei Vav Kei, you have in there Yud Kei Vav Kei, all the 10 Sfirot. Yud is Chochmah, Hey is Bina, and then Vav is the 6 Sfirot up to Malchut, and the last Hey is Malchut. So Yud is like the Chochmah, the letter Yud is Chochmah. Hey, the first Hey is Bina, it's called Bina, Hey. And then Vav is the Vav Sfirot, from Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. And then the last Hey is called Malchut. And Yud Kei Vav Kei is 4 letters. So the 4th letter, number 4, is Malchut. So the Zohar says, why is Malchut called the letter Dalet? The famous teaching. Dalet is like in Aramaic, Delet. Delet la migarma. That Malchut has nothing of its own. Delet, it does not have. La, it does not migarma from itself, klum, nothing. It's like just a receptacle. You fill whatever you fill in, that's what it adds. So Malchut is like that. Malchut is just a vessel. What's Emunah? Is Emunah something tangible? No. Emunah is not tangible. Chachma, this person, he got tested on Masechet the Beitzah, so he has in his head ideas. You have something solid. The guy has smicha, he has a paper, it says smicha, he's a Rav. So he has something solid. That knowledge is solid. Emunah is wobbly. It's intangible. Because Emunah is each person according to how he feels. It's a regish, it's an emotion. It's something which you believe in, something that you can't grasp. That's Emunah. So Malchut and Emunah are that same idea. They're just a vessel to receive other things inside of it. Emunah, the Zohar says, is the gateway for everything else in life. You want to advance? Emunah. So now what Rabbeinu is saying here is that the Emunah comes from a higher level. What does it say here? It says clearly, the last line here in paragraph 6, Malkhut Yetzirah na'asa mimena chokhmah bina da'at asiyah. To explain, there are 4 worlds. What are 4 dimensions? In everything in this world, there's 4 ways of looking at it. For example, in an atlas, geography, there's an atlas. So you have a map of America. You have the map of like population. So they show you like the greener is like or more red is where it's more populated. Okay, so I have a map of population. I want to have a map where there's more green and trees and more rock. So you have a different type of map of the geography of America, where they make it now the brown is like the stony mountain area, and the green is like where there's more green. You have another map where there's more heat and more cold. So it's another type of map of America, the exact same America, but it shows you that New York and Upper America is like colder. And then the hotter is like going down to Miami, okay, Mexico, to Texas, okay? But it's the same map. It's the same United States, but different perspectives. So too is what's called 4 dimensions. In other words, this world, but there's 4 ways of perceiving it. And each dimension feeds the one low underneath it. They're considered one under the next. Not like geography where they're totally separate. Here's the one on the population, here on the minerals, what's in the earth in America, one on the hot and cold. Here in the 4 dimensions called from down up, or from up and down, Atzilut, Biriya, Yetzirah, Asiyah. It's this creation, this world, and everything that has in it, all the stars and the constellations, but 4 dimensions, 4 perspectives. What determines the dimensions? How close they are to receiving from Hashem. So, for example,
last time you said it was like an onion.
Like an onion ring, we said that?
Rings of an onion.
That's the Sfirot. The Sfirot are like an onion ring. There's ways to look at the Sfirot. The Sfirot are like rings. Okay, but you're right. In that, there's also, you see, there's a creation, and in the creation itself, there's still onions. The onion is an onion. Okay, there's rings about it, the perspective where it is in relationship to the center bulb of the onion and the outside, but the whole thing is an onion. So Atzilut is what's called, it's close. It's called Atzilut because it's Etzel. It's next to Hashem. It's the level of perspective of this world closest to Hashem. It's like you don't see what we see. You see the angels moving around. You see whatever things on a crazy dimension to see things from the perspective of Atzilut. Okay, it's a step up. It's from this world, but it's way up. And then there's what's called Bria, which is creation, that the creation of things in this world. So now, from the perspective of how things, the root of everything, where it was created from, that's the next dimension. It receives some Atzilut. Then there was Yetzirah, which is formation, or how things become formed, to see the formation of things. So that's receiving, each one is receiving from the upper one. It's dependent on the upper one. And then finally, as the world we know it, as we see it, the physical world, the cats, the dogs, Niagara Falls, the chocolate bars, the milk, the chocolate milk, the movies, the movie stars, Hollywood, the cars, the buses, the planes, everything you see, that's Olam Asiyah. In the world that you see physical perspective. Tzaddikim, they have X-ray eyes. They can see up to Atzilut and even way above. They have eyes to see what's actually happening. They see, for example, to know the root of a gilgul of a person. They see a person and they can see all his gilgulim. So that would be, for example, Bria or Atzilut, the beginning, where things rooted. He sees things from the root of where they came from. It goes up. There's like everything is rooted, right? Yetzirah is one stage of the actual formation. Bria is the creation of that. And Atzilut is when it just began. Boom. So with X-ray eyes, the tzaddik in this world can tap into all four worlds. Unbelievable. And we do mitzvah, the goal of the mitzvah that we do from the physical world, the world Asiyah. All mitzvah evolve in the Asiyah. Right? You daven, you say Kriyat Shema, you put on tefillin, you keep Shabbat, you refrain from doing melacha, you don't eat on Yom Kippur. Everything requires an action. Asiyah, because that's how you connect. And the mitzvah, the goal of the word mitzvah means to the tzavet, which means to connect. When you do the mitzvah with enough simcha properly, it goes up all the way up. That's what he's saying here. That's why he's using the idea of mitzvah as the platform for all these things. Okay, so he says here, Malkhut of Yetzirah. You have four worlds: Atzilut, Yetzirah, Asiyah. This whole lesson until now spoke about just Asiyah. Because under Asiyah, what's under Asiyah? The klipot. There's nothing else. There's no other world. A world means potential for good. An ability to do good is a world. You need a world to do in it good. That's why it's called Ma'asim Tovim, Olam Asiyah. Now, when a person does bad and gets trapped in the evil, that's the domain, the realm of the klipot. Okay? So he started off the lesson. When you do mitzvot b'simcha, you get the kedusha, the shechina, the mitzvah, that's the simcha that's trapped in the klipot, you lift it up. He called mitzvah many things. He said in mitzvah, you have, remember when we went into this? In mitzvah, you have hidden Yud Ke Vav Ke. Vav He from mitzvah is the Vav Ke of Yud Ke Vav Ke. And Mem Tzadik in Atbash is actually Yud Ke. It's hidden. A mitzvah is half hidden, half revealed. Because through the revealed part of the mitzvah, I can tap into what's hidden, the Mem Tzadik, Matz. Okay? Which is Yud Ke really. So the first stage was now getting the mitzvah out. That was upwards. That was from Asiyah. That was from the klipot to Malchut in Asiyah. And then now the mitzvah has momentum in the world of Asiyah. That's Malchut going into the leg area, the Netzach, Hod, Yesod of the leg area, the legs of Asiyah. And then when now your mitzvah activates bracha, it's activating bracha in this world of Asiyah. That's Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet of the world of Asiyah. And then now that you want to receive the bracha of Sechel, you're smart. You don't want just a Lamborghini in the big houses. I'm aiming higher than that. I'm aiming something which is higher, which will have that automatically within it, if necessary. Right? It is what? Chokhmah, Sechel, and godliness. I want to connect to God. So that's making Chokhmah, that's Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet going up to Chokhmah bin Adat. Now he says, but now for you to reach the next level, which means to go up to the next world, which is Yetzirah, you're going to need to do something different now. You're going to have to draw down something from a higher level down to you. And what is that? Emunah. That's Emunah. He says, idea of Emunah is that Emunah is something which is always above you. Emunah is always above you. Crazy. When you're learning Torah with Emunah, we said this many times. The rest of us would say it's in Sechsaf and Kodesh. The rest of us would say there's two ways to learn Torah. Well, there's many ways, but if you learn Torah just as an intellectual goal, I made my goal to understand the Rashi, to understand the Tosfot. It has to fit in here, and then I reached my goal. That's one way to learn Torah. That's an example. Another way is my goal now is I'm entering the world of Emunah. This page of Gemara has endless Ruach HaKodesh in it, and I'm aware of this, I believe in this, and I'm learning the Gemara, yes, to understand, but always in my subconscious that there's Emunah behind these words. Amar Abaye, Amar. It's not just Amar Abaye, it's like the Lipashmot of Amar Abaye. In other words, I believe in it. I'm not just saying the words. Amar Abaye, Amar Chisa. I believe in the words. I have Emunah. And I believe that this is connected to Ein Sof. That Abaye and what he's saying is connected to Ein Sof. Every line of the Gemara is Ein Sof. When I'm learning with that, so the rest of us would say, what you gain from the Gadaf Gemara is much more than the guy who made his goal an intellectual goal. You make just an intellectual goal, for sure you have to understand. But the understanding is within Emunah always, and you're aware of it, and you're making it a point when you're learning. You're making a point that I don't forget. They told me once, I was in a Beis Midrash, not a Breslover Beis Midrash, and I was coming every day to learn I had a Gemara Seder, and I chose for a certain time to do in this Beis Midrash, and every day I would come, so I say the Yiratzon, you say the Yiratzon in the beginning of the Gemara. So some Bachurim, Hasidic Bachurim say, well, you say it every day? He said, yeah, what's the problem? He said, we say it once in a blue moon, once. I said, but that's the whole key to understand the Gemara, is that you're davening about it. Yiratzon, Shaloi Kashel, and I was shocked. I thought everybody, why did Art Scroll put it inside the middle in the front of the Gemara? So you can say it. I thought everybody's saying it. I find out people are not saying it. What the world is going on? Why aren't you saying it? Once in a blue moon, but every day be conscious that your Ratzon is the Emunah part. Even if I say it dead, at least I'm saying it. I'm showing there's some Emunah there. Okay? So this is the idea. Your Emunah is coming from a level higher than you. That's the thing. You can't say, oh, yeah, I have Emunah. Someone who says he has Emunah, it's scary. So you have to say, I want to have Emunah, because Emunah is at a higher level than me. It's not internal. I have to take it from a higher level and internalize it. Okay? So look what he says here. Malchut, this idea of drawing Emunah from a higher world, from a higher level down to you, this is the idea of Malkhut of Yetzirah. What in the world just happened there? Malkhut of Yetzirah. We didn't explain this. I'll explain this quickly. Maybe explain it once. We said there's 4 worlds, right? 4 worlds. Each world has a whole set of 10 sefirot. So you have Keter Chochma Bina of Asiyah, Keter Chochma Bina Dat, etc. of Yetzirah, of Biriah, of Atzilut. Okay? Our goal is to reach all 4 sets of 10, to bypass them, to reach Atzilut, to reach the Or Ein Sof in life. Okay? But it's levels, it's stages. This whole lesson was just to get to what's called Malchut of the world above. What's the world above? Yetzirah. Asiyah is down here. The set of 10 over here is called the Asiyah. The next set of 10 is in Yetzirah. Malchut of Yetzirah is not coming from Klipot, as opposed to Malchut in front of Asiyah was coming from Klipot into the holiness. That was the initial stage. That's where a Jew starts off every day. A Jew starts off every day in the earth. They say in Yiddish, in the earth. I'm in the earth. I'm in the earth. I'm stuck in the earth. That's where your starting point is, okay? The next level is I want to now reach a higher level, to go to the world of Biriah. That's already now a different ballgame. Malchut of Yetzirah is coming, is the bottom point, which is above the world below it. What does that mean? Malchut is Emunah. Malchut means Emunah. When I say Malchut of Yetzirah, I'm drawing it down. What does he say here? He says, look at what he says in the lesson. He says, Malchut Yetzirah, Na'aseh mimena, it is made from it, what's called Chochma Bina Da'at, the Asiyah. Asiyah is the world below it. Asiyah is the lowest world. But the spitz of Asiyah is Chochma Bina Da'at. What we didn't mention Keter, because this is what's the light of the Keter. The light of the Keter of Asiyah, we didn't go into this at all. That's why I don't want to go into it that much yet. I'm just going to what Rabbeinu is giving us right now. The light of Keter is made when you join Malchut from Yetzirah with Chokhmah Bina Da'at of Asiyah. What does that mean? When you reach now, if you're doing mitzvah b'simcha, you reach now the maximum, which is the intellect. Your goal is emunah. Where's that emunah coming from? From a dimension above you that's coming from Yetzirah. I'm drawing emunah down. I have the capability of doing this because I've reached Chokhmah Bina Da'at. I'm not ready for the next level. Chokhmah Bina Da'at is the ChaBaD. That's the head. There's nothing above the head. There's a Keter, fine. But there's a next, the next level is reaching Malchut of the next dimension, the next world above me, okay? To do that, I have to connect. How do I connect? By drawing emunah. What does it mean, drawing emunah? I believe, and my emunah is way above my level. I'm holding here, and I recognize, and I admit, and I believe, and I strengthen that my emunah is way above here. Meaning what? I made my goal in life emunah. And all I did put emunah in my pocket. Yeah, let's go on. Let's learn Bartanur and everything. Emunah, I got in my bar mitzvah, and I put it in my pocket. Now let's go on. That's not emunah. Emunah is this emunah that he's talking about. That's going to get you up in life. Is an emunah coming from a higher level. Meaning what? I've made emunah my goal. By doing that, you are drawing Malkhut of Yetzirah and Naaseh Mimena. What does it mean, Naaseh Mimena? Until now, the lower level is external. It encloses the upper level. But here, emunah is the upper level. It's coming down. It's going to enclose. Doesn't make sense. Chokhmah Bina Da'at of Asiyah is lower. If anything, Chokhmah Bina Da'at is a garment. It's external. And what's going to be inside is more greater, which is the case. So he doesn't say malbish. He says it comes down. It's made out of the emunah from the higher world. Chokhmah Bina Da'at of Asiyah. It's going inside here. Okay, it's going inside. And this way I joined it. Okay. So why does this happen? So the Arizal. We need a bit of Kabbalah here. Very bit, and we'll finish with this. We went on. Oof, nice. The Arizal says that in reality, the four worlds, I said there's Yud, K, Vav, K. Okay? Yud, we said, is Chokhmah. K is Bina. Vav is the 6 Sfirot. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. And the last K is Malchut. Also, the Arizal teaches from the Kabbalah that Yud, K, Vav, K also correspond to these four worlds. So the first Yud it corresponds also to Atzilut. The first K corresponds to Bria. The Vav corresponds to Yetzirah. And the final Hey is Asiyah. Okay? So even though the first Yud is Chokhmah, but it also corresponds to Atzilut, so it's as if all the 10 Sfirot of Atzilut are connected to Chokhmah. So it's like Chokhmah of Chokhmah, which is Atzilut, Bina of Chokhmah, which is Atzilut, okay? So then also works like that for the second world. That's Atzilut. Bria, which is the world, the second world, is corresponding to Bina. So another term for Bina is the world of Bria. And in that you have also 10 Sfirot, which are all associated. It's like Yesod of Bina, which is Bria, the world of Bria. Okay, the sixth one is tricky because it's 6 Sfirot, but they're a pack. It's a package deal. It's called Chagat Him, the 6 Sfirot. So it's like saying Chesed of Netzah of Chesed Gvurah Tiferet Netzach Hod Yesod, which is the world of Yetzirah. Okay, so now the last world is called Asiyah. And it's all in the domain of Malchut, because it's Yud Kei Vav Kei Malchut, but it's also Asiyah. So the 10 Sfirot of Asiyah are considered in the domain of Malchut, of Asiyah, which is Malchut. So it's like the Chokhmah of Asiyah, which is of Malchut, the Bina of Asiyah, which is also Malchut, okay? So now because the Arizal says, the last Sfira of the world of Yetzirah is called Malchut, okay? The world of Yetzirah above, right? The third world. The third world is Yetzirah. The last sphere is Malchut. And Malchut, anyways, is the terminology, is the naming of the last world. The fourth one, it's called Asiyah Malchut. So this Malchut has a tendency to drop down into the world below it. Like it does it a favor. In other words, it has a connection since the elevation of the lower world underneath. This is now the world of Yetzirah, like we said. And underneath you have another set of 10, right? since this Malchut is connected to the Keter, let's say the Keter of the world of Asiyah, okay, and this is here, okay? Since it's so associated to that word because of its name, it's called Malchut, even it's called Malkhut of Yetzirah, fine. It's the Malchut of Netzach, of Chesed, Netzach, fine. But it's still called Malchut, and its job is to lift up, to be connected to the lower world. So this Malchut doesn't like staying here. The Arizal says it wants to go down to the next dimension below, the world of Asiyah, to help it out. That's how Emunah has availability to a person. The Emunah is above me, but it's accessible. It's intangible, yes, but I can access it in my life. I can connect. It's not like something which is far. It's in other words, it's like jellyfish. It's not something tangible. It's intangible, but it's reachable. Okay? It is reachable. So because it's reachable, the tendency of this Malchut is to go down to this world, which means you have now what? 10 Sfirot plus 1, 11. So he says the Arizal, these 11 Sfirot, the Malchut of the world of Yetzirah, I know there's a lot of details, but I'm trying my best to explain it again and again and again and again. The Malchut of Yetzirah plus the 10 Sfirot of Asiyah make 11. This corresponds to the 11 fragrances of the Ketores, which is why the Arizal says this specific 10, the 11 combinations of these 11 fragrances, in this combination, the way the Torah gives the matkonet in Parshat Kitisa, gives the matkonet, the formulation of how the Ketores, moruk tzia v'shibolet ner v'charkom shasar mane, right? What we say every day in that formation is so powerful that it actually activates the 11 Sfirot. Crazy. Today we don't have Beit HaMikdash, so the Chachamim instituted you saying it every day, unshalema farim svartenu, you reciting the Ketores activates the 11th Sfirot also. Crazy. By just mentioning moruk tzia v'shibolet the Braita and the Psukim, you activate the energy of these 11 Sfirot. What are these 11 Sfirot meant to do? The goal of the 11 is to pull out the Kedusha trapped in the Klipot, bring it up to the next level, the next world. Bring up to the world of Yetzirah, and then eventually the world of Bria and the world of Atzilut. This is how it starts, though. It starts with the Ketores. That's why the beginning of the day starts with Ketores. The beginning of davening. You wake up in the morning. One of the first things you do, fine, you do a few things. If you're lucky, you get up chatzot, you do modani, netilat yadayim, you go to the bathroom, asher yatzar, bikat Torah, tikkun chatzot if you have that chance. In the winter, the nights where it's long, you can do itbodedut, you can learn, okay, fine. But the day, which is the beginning of the elevation, the elevation of the day starts at sunrise. Night, especially after midnight, is a preparation for the yichud, the unification in the Kabbalah. That's what it's called. It takes place at day. That's why there's the idea of davening at nets. You get it exactly at that point. The shpitz, the fine beginning, is to start your day right at time. At the time of the Netzach, when the sun comes out, that's the best time to have things moving. That's why the Shmoneh Esrei is not at that time. Fine, preparation for that. Ketores. We start with the Ketores. You have all these psukim, but then where you hit big time is the Korban Tamid, which works together with the Ketores, and then boom. So these 11 correspond to these 11, So we have 11 of the fragrances, 11 Sfirot. Which 11 Sfirot? These lower Sfirot. And what the Ketores does, it goes all the way into the Klipot and brings the Kedusha trapped. And Rabbeinu says, Simcha and doing a mitzvah, any mitzvah, has the same power of the Ketores. However, it receives from the Ketores, which is why saying Ketores, he says, Rav Nosson, is a simcha for being a simcha. So these work together. This is what Rabbeinu is saying. So again, we'll finish with this. So everything we spoke about, and it's done with Emunah, by the way. Emunah is number 11. It's the bridge. Emunah corresponds to what, by the way? ChaBaD. Because you see, there's 10 Sfirot. We're using a number 11 to pull out. With Malkhut of Yetzirah, what would it correspond to? Something which I don't see the good in it, but I have to believe it has good in it. What is the one fragrance in the Ketores that stinks, but you believe that it makes a good fragrance when it's combined with the other 10? The ChaBaD. ChaBaD stinks. Galbanim, it stinks, okay? But when it's combined with the other 10, so that's Emunah. Emunah is where I don't see anything, but with Emunah, I believe it exists. It's there. That's the idea of the Emunah. I see I'm getting nowhere in my life. I see I'm not advancing and everything, and getting all the altishments, shantuzi, and all that, whatever. But I believe that my mitzvot still make a difference. I believe that Hashem values my good. I see nothing, but I believe that's Emunah. Okay, that's the idea of the Chalbina. So it's the connector. In the Kedusha, it's coming from a higher world, which means on the lower world, I don't see anything. But it's available to give you that boost to get up. Okay? So now Malkhut of Yetzirah, which makes number 11 of the Ktoret, if we look at the perspective of the Ktoret, Malkhut of Yetzirah, Nasa mimena chokhmah bina da'at asiyah. So now this Malkhut of Yetzirah, it now becomes internalized to the chokhmah bina da'at, which means that now when I'm pursuing chokhmah of the Torah, chokhmah of Hashem, the bina of the Torah, the bina of Hashem, the bina of the mitzvot, the da'at, it's always an emunah in mind. Next class, we'll go into the prayer on this piece. In my opinion, it's one of the most powerful parts of the tefillah, is the prayer of Nosson wrote on this section of emunah in da'at. So we finished. That was hard, that was heavy. I think that was enough. And B'ezrat Hashem, the main thing is L'kayim Zayin, to fill it, which means to have emunah foremost. When you see how Rav Nosson expresses it in the tefillah, you'll flip out. I hope you'll flip out, like I did. When you see how Rav Nosson talks about emunah, when you see it in this little paragraph on the tefillah, it's the biggest Musar Shmuz, how he talks about it. Okay, Shkoyach, thank you for coming. You can turn off there. Thank you very much.